Yep, we are live. Okay, let's go. Hello, everybody. I'm doing another live stream today. I haven't live streamed in a while, within like 2-3 days now, but there have been some things that I want to talk about, specifically the Yankees Phillies series. I wanted to talk about the 4-game series, including the doubleheader that was the other day, and pretty much do like kind of a breakdown of that, and then talk about the upcoming series starting today. I think at 5:45 Central Time, if I'm not mistaken, against the Rays. This will also be it's a 4-game series as well. There's a doubleheader on Saturday and then Sunday, and then I think the Yankees are off on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I think they might be off on Monday. But let's go ahead and talk about the Phillies and the Yankees. Let's go ahead and just start it off with game number one. The Yankees ended up taking game number one, 6-3. DJ LeMahieu, 2 hits. Aaron Judge, 2 hits. Gardy with a home run. LeMahieu with a home run. Aaron Hicks, RBI, walk. Stanton got a walk in there too. Mike Ford got a decent hit. You got your Urshela banging in 3 RBIs. That's always good to see. Gardner, again, 1 RBI from the home run, 1 hit. Pretty solid overall game. Garrett Cole pitched 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. And that's the thing. It's like Garrett Cole, he's going to get the job done. He's going to go out there and pitch quality innings. It doesn't have to be his most electric stuff, because Garrett Cole pitching 6 innings, giving up 5 hits with only 4 strikeouts is nothing. It's literally nothing to him. I mean, I'm sure he probably went out there and said, I could have done a lot better. He probably is the type of guy that said, I could have probably struck out 15. I could have probably, not walked any, not given up a single hit, not given up a single run. Like, Garrett Cole is that much of a perfectionist. That's good to have in the clubhouse. And, if we want to talk about starting pitching, at least this year, Paxton's velocity is still down. It's not great right now. It's still down. It's still a concern with him. Masahiro, still, I think Tanaka will pick it up, but he didn't have the best start last time. Montgomery didn't have the greatest start last night. We'll talk about that a little bit. So basically, Garrett Cole, even though, he's pitching 6 innings and he's not striking out like 10, 15 batters, giving us his electric stuff, which he had from last year, doesn't mean he doesn't have it. But the point is, he's getting the job done. There's some good contact that he's given up, but with a guy as electric fastball and Garrett Cole, you can afford to get away with some mistakes. And he's done that all season. And he did that last year too. Although he was more electric last year, that's not even up for debate. As long as he's getting it done, and here's the thing, it will come. As we go on this season, Garrett Cole is going to get better and better and better. And I won't be surprised in the next, few starts, he's going to bang out like a 15 strikeout game. Like, he's going to be on that level where he's just basically unhittable. And if this is what he is now, I'm fine with it too. If he doesn't strike out 15 people for any games that he starts this year, as long as he's doing what he's doing at this level, I will be completely fine with that. Like, I'm not complaining one bit. We signed this man to get the job done. It doesn't matter how he gets it done. It just matters that he gets the job done. And that's what Garrett Cole is going to do. So talk about that. Then we talk about one of the doubleheader games, the first doubleheader game. This was a very bad game for pitching, very, very, very bad. And that's putting it nicely. The Phillies beat the Yankees 11-7. The offense kind of came up at the end. The only bad thing for the Yankees, and probably for the Phillies too, if we're considering the second game of the doubleheader, is the fact that they made these doubleheaders only 7 innings. So I guarantee you, with the Yankees down in that position, I'm not saying the Phillies would have lost the game, but tack on another 2 innings, and the Yankees probably have a chance to do something. And Wheeler was looking pretty much unhittable until the Phillies went to their bullpen. And here, the same can be said about Aaron Nola too. Until the Phillies went to their bullpen, the Yankees were pretty much not doing anything. And to be fair, Wheeler was aided by an error that should have turned into a double play. And Wheeler at most made one mistake, which was a home run off the bat of Brett Gardner. And that's pretty much it. Wheeler was pretty much unhittable that whole entire game until the Yankees got to the bullpen. And that's the bad thing about the doubleheaders, is that we know the Phillies bullpen they struggle. They're still trying to find their groove. And I don't know when they'll find their groove, if they'll ever find their groove this season. I think they need to go shopping for a lot of relievers, to say the least. But the Phillies is one of those teams that's like, you want to get Aaron Nola or Wheeler out as fast as possible, because you get to that bullpen. I'm not going to say it's almost a guaranteed win, because baseball is going to be baseball and anything can happen, but it almost seems like it's a guaranteed win against the Phillies, especially with a high-powered offense like the Yankees. it's almost a guaranteed win that if we get to the Phillies bullpen as soon as possible, it's game over. Unless, this game happens where the pitching gives up 11 runs. J-Happ, nothing could really be too said about J-Happ. I mean, J-Happ pitched atrocious, 6 walks in 3 innings. That's absolutely terrible, to put it nicely. 3 hits, 4 earned runs. I mean, I don't know what it is about Happ. I mean, he had a really solid spring training. I thought he might somewhat bounce back, but it's just like I don't know what the problem is with him. I really don't. Like, at least with Paxton, I know it's his velocity. He has the good stuff. He's just got to get that velocity up. But with Happ, I genuinely do not know what the problem is. I mean, pretty much the only thing that I can pinpoint is that his location is just, it's so off, and he walks too many batters. I mean, 6 walks in 3 innings. That's not good. So it's the location. And I think sometimes it feels like Happ is just too scared to try and put away hitters. Like, he's trying too hard to paint the corners when it's like, okay, man, like, we understand that you give up a lot of home runs. I think last year he was this, in terms of qualified pitchers, he gave up the most home runs per 9 innings. I don't think he was first. I want to say he was second, but the point is he was giving up too many home runs per 9 innings. That's what you're going to get out of him. That's always the concern with him. So that might be the reason why he walked a lot of batters, because he's not confident enough to paint those corners and paint those edges with his fastball. He's too worried that he's going to give them meatball pitches. I don't know what it is with Happ. There doesn't really seem to be any silver lining with Happ, in a sense that we're going to get a productive outing out of him. It seems like at this point, it's every blue moon that he comes out and he gives us like 6 innings. And even then, it seems like he's given up 3-4 earned runs. Like, he never has a gem. Like, it's pretty much a rarity at this point that Happ does anything productive. And that's why I'm like, I don't know what it is with this guy. Pretty much the only thing I can pinpoint it is he's just giving up too many meatballs, and it seems like he doesn't have confidence in himself. That's pretty much all it is. But at least Holder, I will say Holder came out and did his job. 1 inning, 1 strikeout, no hits, no earned runs. He did good. And then Nick Nelson came out. And I don't want to fault Nick Nelson because he's so young and he still has a lot of potential. But Nelson came out 1.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk. The Phillies shelled him to death. The Phillies came out swinging when Nick Nelson came out. Like, he got absolutely shelled. I mean, it speaks for itself when the Phillies scored 6 runs in the 6th inning. There's no way to put it nicely other than he got absolutely shelled. And then, Luis Cessa, I hope to see a bounce back season for Luis Cessa. I see a lot of potential in Cessa, and I really like the guy. Came out 1.1 innings, 1 hit, 1 K. I mean, Cessa he pretty much did what he needed to do. So I'm happy with Cessa. Hopefully he can, do that moving forward. We'll see about that. I do have a lot of faith and potential in the guy, but if we're talking about the offense wasn't terrible. 7 runs in 7 innings it's more than solid. It's just the pitching gave up everything for the Yankees. I don't fault the offense one bit. DJ came out 3 hits. He's going to be DJ, and he's going to get hits. He's going to get on base. Aaron Judge, another home run for 3 RBIs. Nothing else can be said other than Aaron Judge is just slapping the cover off baseballs. I believe he has the 2nd highest slugging and 2nd highest OPS in the league behind Nick Castellanos. Which, to be fair, Castellanos has also been ripping the cover off of baseballs lately too. But Judge has just been pretty much locked in the entire time. 308 average, 372 on base percentage for you guys who care about those stats. And then pretty much Mike Tauchman. Mike Tauchman definitely should be starting. I'm going to be one of those people. I might be one of those pretty much those. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I wouldn't say boomer in particularly, but I'm going to go out and say that I think Gardner should not be playing every day. I think I think Gardner's getting to the end of his ropes. I know Gardner can still be a helpful, productive guy. He actually was very productive in this series against the Phillies. But overall, I want the younger guy and Mike Tauchman. Mike Tauchman has just as good of defense as Brett Gardner. He has elite defense. I can rely on him in the field. He's got good base running. He's smart. He can steal a few bags for you. One of those games that the Yankees ended up winning was because of a smart base running decision from Mike Tauchman, stealing to second. So he's good with base running. He's got a smart head. He's very smart mentally. He's got a good baseball IQ on his shoulders. you can't even use the lefty argument either because Mike Tauchman is also a lefty. So you're not trading a lefty for a righty. You're still trading a lefty for a lefty. So we could still add a lefty, reliable bat in the lineup. But, he's younger and, he's going to give you more service time at this point. So that's why I think that at this point, Mike Tauchman needs to start more than Gardner. I'm not saying Gardner can't play anymore, obviously. I think a lot of the guys on the bench, even Estrada went out and, got one hit with a 1 RBI in the first doubleheader game, so I think a lot of these guys can come out and get things done. But, when we're talking about, longevity in the sense of the future, I think Mike Tauchman should be getting more reps so he can get better and better as a hitter. We already know he's an elite defender. So, he's only going to get better. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Then we moved to game 3, which basically was the second game of the doubleheader yesterday, or not yesterday, but the other night. And this game was a lot better for the pitching. It was completely different. Although I will give credit to the Phillies and say Aaron Nola basically looked unhittable. I was surprised, even though I think I'm not mistaken that Aaron Nola was at a pitch count. He was up to 88 pitches. But I'm honestly surprised with how scared the Phillies are in bringing their bullpen out because they know that their bullpen struggles up on giving up games and blowing leads and blowing saves. I'm surprised they didn't leave Nola out, considering that the doubleheaders were all 7-inning games. They didn't leave him out for another inning because he pitched 6 innings, only gave up 3 hits, struck out 12. That's like a Garrett Cole outing right there. Like 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 12 strikeouts, no walks. That is like a Garrett Cole, outing right there. I'm not saying Nola is Garrett Cole. He's obviously not, but Nola just had his stuff. His curveball was making the entire Yankees lineup silly. They just couldn't do anything with his curveball. It would just look filthy. So I'm pretty much kind of surprised about that. And that's the thing, like I said earlier, get to the Phillies bullpen. It seems like it's an almost guaranteed win for the Yankees. That's just how it is. As long as the pitching is good, the Yankees, we obviously can rely on the bullpen to do their job. Phillies cannot. So you can see why. But DJ LeMahieu somehow didn't get a hit, which is very surprising. Aaron Judge with a hit, and then Giancarlo Stanton with a hit. Luke Voit with a hit, including a home run, massive home run, absolutely shot that to the other end of the Andromeda Galaxy. He just absolutely slammed that bad boy. Like that thing was long gone before you even saw the ball, come into the left field, outfield, the seats in left field. But it was pretty much smashed. It was ripped the cover off the baseball. Which makes me happy. I'm a huge supporter of Luke Voit. I love that he's getting the recognition that he deserves. It seems like maybe not a lot of people, but some people have been kind of slow because a lot of people were kind of concerned about the injury from last year and what he could do. But I'm telling you, for those people who are still Voit doubters, you need to stop doubting the man because he's good. He can hit the baseball well. And, well, he is an atrocious defender. But, to be fair, Mike Ford isn't much of a better defender either. And I'd rather have Luke Voit because he's going to get on base a lot more than Mike Ford is. And then we talk about Gary. Until we talk about Gary for the next game, Gary, slow again, 2 strikeouts. Gio Urshela, 2 hits, 1 RBI. Gio just swinging the bat well ever since he made the adjustments that he needed to in AAA, basically with following through with a swing. He's been a blessing in disguise since last season. Can't complain about Mr. Urshela. And Andujar just, I don't know what it is, Andujar. It might be he needs to get more reps, more practice with the bat, but it's just like, man, Andujar just looked lost, completely lost. I don't even really know what to say about Andujar at this point. And the thing is, a lot of people, I know some people on Twitter have mentioned the thought of possibly trading Andujar, and I'm like, what are we going to get out of Andujar? His value is really bad right now. He plays atrocious defense. He's not doing anything offensively as of right now. You're not going to trade the guy and get anything that is worth your money. It's just not going to happen at this point. Probably the best offer that you have is probably either Clint Frazier or Clark Schmidt. And for me personally, I'm not willing to give up Clark Schmidt right now. He's too good. He has too much potential. I got to see what he has in store for the majors. And also Devi Garcia, I have a lot of faith and trust in him too. So as far as pretty much at this point, Clark Schmidt, I would say, is off the table. Unless you're going and getting a guy like, I don't know, Mike Clevenger, I'm pretty much saying no to any trade deals involving Clark Schmidt because we need pitching. The Yankees need starting pitching, and Clark Schmidt's going to give you that. I know a lot of people have hinted at the idea of Lindor, but you're not giving up Schmidt for Lindor and, a few other players, because obviously you're not going to just give up Schmidt for Lindor. There's no way the Indians would ever suggest that. They're going to want a few other prospects in the bag with that. But even then, I'm not giving up Schmidt for Lindor because the Yankees don't need offense. They need pitching. They need starting pitching. They don't need bullpen. They don't need offense. What they need is solid, basically solid rotation. They need some other pitchers, some reliable guys to help Cole out, especially when it comes to postseason, except for Tanaka, because Tanaka he could pitch the worst, basically the worst season of his career, and he'll somehow go out there in October and pitch a gem. So I'm not even worried about Tanaka at this point with postseason. I'm just not. And usually I'm not. Usually I'm really skeptical because I'm like, well, you want the guy who has the better numbers in the regular season to go out and pitch for you in the postseason, right? But it's just it doesn't really seem to be the case with Mr. Tanaka. He just seems to go get the job done, and he just does it, and I don't even know. I don't even question anymore. It's like DJ. I don't even question if he gets on base anymore. He just hits, and he hits and hits. That's all it comes down to it anymore. But the pitching was pretty good. Loaisiga, he kind of had some struggles, but he has a lot of potential if he gets that fastball. The problem with Loaisiga is I think in the first inning, he struggles a lot with getting the location down. But after that, he seems to be fine. And that will be Loaisiga's, basically, that will be the key to his success, is whether or not he can paint the corners and the edge sufficiently, not give up too many meatballs with his fastball, because he seems to pretty much blow hitters away with the velocity on his fastball. But if he can pinpoint his location more accurately and isn't scared to pound those outside corners and the edges and stuff, and maybe lean a little bit more into the strike zone without giving up too many meatballs, Loaisiga is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. Because like I said, he blows hitters away with his velocity. It is extremely quick. He pumps gas constantly. He basically could be like another version of Chad Green with his fastball. And the thing about Loaisiga, he has potential to, obviously he's open, a few games now, including this game, but he also has the potential to not only be an opener, but he could be a solid starting, guy in your lineup. Maybe not go, 5-6 innings, but go at least 4 innings, 3 or 4 innings, which probably that would be the, the opening role. But usually most of the time when Chad Green would do the opening role, he'd go 1 to 2 innings. But I think Loaisiga could go 3 to 4 innings, to be honest with you. He has that potential, but he's got to get his location on more consistently. That will be the key. And if he can get his breaking ball more on the outside of the plate away from hitters, especially against, I would probably say righties for sure. If he can get his bread and butter working with the fastball to his breaking ball combo, those two are an excellent 1-2 punch pitch. And if he can get, like I said, it's all about location with Loaisiga. It's not that he doesn't have the stuff. He's just got to hit the strike zone more consistently. Basically, he basically just point blank and simple, he just has to have better location, get it off the edge of the strike zone, whether it's on the edge or the corner, away from a lefty or righty. That's all it is to it. And he's got that potential. And then, Avalon came out, 2 strikeouts in 1 inning. Excellent. Chad Green, 2.1 innings, 2 strikeouts. Excellent again. Adam Ottavino, only 0.1. He only went out. And then Britton with 1 inning, did what he needed to do and got the Yankees to win. So can't complain about that. And then we got the last game. The very last game, the Phillies ended up taking it from the Yankees, unfortunately, 5-4. It was a very, very tough game. It was fought neck and neck. And the Phillies, unfortunately, came up on top. But, Mike Tauchman, again, like I said, he needs to start 2 hits, 2 RBIs with bases loaded. A very important situation there. Then you also have Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner, he had 2 hits. Again, not saying Brett Gardner can't be productive because, like I said, he was very productive against the Phillies this whole entire series. But, in terms of your longevity and in terms of your future, I'd rather have Tauchman starting over Gardner and getting Tauchman daily reps. But you don't have to worry about his defense because he's just as good, if not a better defender than Brett Gardner is. You could make that argument. And then Gary Sanchez, the one positive thing about yesterday was that Gary Sanchez, although he struck out twice, he got an absolute slam dunk. He bombed that home run. And that's a good thing about, Gary Sanchez. We can hopefully see that Gary is going to be on a hot streak. Because Gary is one of those players. He's going to be a streaky hitter. He's either going to be really, really bad and look lost at the plate, or he's just going to smack 3 home runs in 3 days. He's got to be that type of player for you. So hopefully We can see Gary get on a hot streak. We need him back. We need him back, not just from a catching standpoint, obviously, because he's a good, reliable catcher, although the pass balls seem to be a problem in the past. But he has definitely got better with his framing as a catcher, which is definitely very productive and definitely something to look forward to. But we need his bat. Gary is very productive, and we need him for his bat. That's very important. That might be the most important thing for Gary is his bat. He's one of the best hitting catchers in the league, and he's got to be productive. We need that. If he's productive, if that's the thing, if the Yankees are on their A game and they're all just, one after another, seeing the ball well, this team is basically impossible to beat. They are basically impossible. Like if you have Garrett Cole with this team, it's basically borderline impossible to beat this team. Like they are going to be a tough team to beat, especially with Garrett Cole out on the mound. And I mean, they've already proven that with every time Garrett Cole stepped on the mound, they've won the game, and Garrett Cole's pitched very well and the bullpen comes out and they just get the job done. So, DJ LeMahieu, I know he came in and pitched, hit. He got a hit, doesn't really surprise me. The machine is going to be the machine. I know some people were very skeptical on the decision with, having Aaron Judge in the situation that he was in outside of DJ. I think it was the right call. I think even outside the fact of how good DJ has been offensively, especially this year and last year, Aaron Judge is still your overall better player. Like if we're looking at career numbers, Aaron Judge compared to DJ LeMahieu, who has played, I think, since 2010 with the Cubs. I could be wrong about that. But DJ LeMahieu has played a significant more amount of time. He's gotten a significant more amount of plate appearances, games played, innings played out in the field, which I won't argue defense, even though I think Aaron Judge is more than elite of defender than DJ is, considering that ultimate zone rating and, well, not specifically ultimate zone rating, but defensive runs saved are a lot harder to come by in the outfield. And it seems like Aaron Judge is still basically light years ahead of DJ and most other fielders in general, and defense, especially for being an outfielder and saving that many runs defensively, is absurd. But basically the point I'm going across is DJ has had a lot more plate appearances, a lot more games played in his career. And also he was aided by Coors Field, which I don't want to get in the argument too much about Coors Field, but we definitely know that the ball likes to fly out of Coors Field more often. But the point is he's gotten a lot more time played in his career. Aaron Judge has only played 3 years, where DJ's played around, I would at least say 9 seasons now. And the point is, even then, with DJ playing a significant more time than Judge has in his career, Judge has still been a more reliable bat than DJ has in his entire career. Basically, if you guys follow the stat WAR, basically WAR is wins above replacement. It shows how many wins as a player single-handedly you are contributing to your team. And like I said, even though Aaron Judge has played significantly less games and has less plate appearances than DJ LeMahieu in his career, he still has a higher F-WAR than DJ LeMahieu. And even then, he's not too far off of B-WAR, which B-WAR basically is Baseball Reference's version of WAR. It basically uses the same thing that F-WAR does, but it also takes into account defense. Which, if that's the case, where DJ LeMahieu is around a 20.2 B-WAR player in his career while playing around 9 seasons, and then Aaron Judge is around an 18.2 or so B-WAR player in 3 years, that basically means DJ isn't even close to the player that Judge is. Now, like I said, that might get a lot of backlash. You guys give me your thoughts and opinions on it. But the fact of the matter is, in a significantly less amount of time, DJ hasn't been even close to as productive as Aaron Judge has. Now, DJ last year, I'm not going to take anything away from DJ. I don't think DJ should have been the MVP of last year. I still think it should have been Mike Trout, obviously, for obvious reasons, because nobody's even close to Mike Trout. I don't even think that's debatable. But, I mean, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from DJ. He had a phenomenal, outstanding season last year. But if we're talking in a sense of who do you want at the plate in this situation in terms of their career, in terms of who is an overall better hitter, it's got to be Aaron Judge. And that's why I think, even though that they could have went with DJ LeMahieu, the results could have been different. But the point is, Aaron Judge is the Yankees' best hitter, point blank. And I think they made the right decision with him out there, even though it cost them the game. We could also say with the situation with Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt, I think he basically missed it by a hair. He almost got the ball out, almost basically gave the Yankees the lead in the seventh. And instead it flew out to the warning track and the Yankees lost the game, unfortunately. Pretty much a really tough way to win the game. But, like I said, I think putting Aaron Judge in that spot is the best point of action. And, I made that argument with DJ is that he's going to get on base whether, you like it or not. It doesn't matter if there's men on base. It doesn't matter if there's, someone on first or someone on second or someone on third, if there's nobody. But still, with that being said, because of numbers like WOBA and WRC plus, which these are very advanced analytics that I like using. WRC plus mostly is a ballpark factor thing. And then WOBA is like weighted on base runs, basically. And it's the overall production of pretty much everything. And DJ LeMahieu isn't even close to Aaron Judge on that level in terms of career numbers. And I don't even think we've seen the best of Aaron Judge in his career. I just don't. I think we'll see even better than what we saw in his rookie 2017 season. I just see it. He's got that drive, that motivation. He has a different kind of chip on his shoulders. We haven't seen the best of him yet. So that's pretty much all I have about the last game of the season. I know Stanton got a decent hit. I'm glad Stanton's playing every day now. A lot of people like to doubt Stanton, but he's been off to a really good start this season. I hope he continues. I see a lot of faith and progress in that. And then we talk about the game for tonight. Now, the Yankees, this is the lineup. So we got DJ, which I'm never going to complain about. I know I've said 100 times that you could put DJ anywhere in the lineup. It doesn't matter, and he could hit, so it doesn't bother me that he's leadoff. You got Aaron Judge, Hicks, Stanton, Voit, Torres, Urshela, Sanchez, Tauchman. That's a good, very, very good lineup. This lineup right here, you could order it a different way. Like I said in the past, you could probably put Luke Voit ahead of DJ and maybe have DJ in the cleanup because it's pretty much almost guaranteed that it just seems like DJ's going to get a hit in those big situations. And like I said, DJ's going to hit whether there's a man on first, whether there's a man on second, whether there's a man on third. It doesn't matter. He just hits the ball. So that's why I wouldn't be opposed to having DJ LeMahieu either in the third spot or the cleanup, because he's going to drive in runs if someone's in, scoring position, basically. But this lineup, this is a really, really good lineup. This is probably the best line. Pretty much this is the best possible lineup that the Yankees can construct. Just point blank. You have LeMahieu, you have Judge, Hicks, Stanton, Voit, Torres, Urshela, Sanchez, Tauchman. Every single hitter, back to back to back to back to back. And even Tauchman can do some serious damage. This is a very, very scary team. Like, this is a terrifying lineup to face. Like, I couldn't imagine being any pitcher in the league and going up and say, oh, okay, so who are we going to face today? Well, we're going to face DJ in the leadoff. Okay, so we also got Judge. Okay, and we have Hicks and Stanton and Voit and Torres and Urshela and Sanchez and Tauchman. It's just like, when does it stop? It's just like, and these guys get better and better and better through the season progresses, and they get better not only as the season progresses, but they get better as the game goes on. You get through the lineup the second time, you get through the lineup the third time. It's just like this team is so ridiculously good. And I know a lot of people complain that they rely on the long ball so much, but it's like, you still have guys like Hicks and Voit who can take walks, work out counts, get on base. Aaron Judge is going to be Aaron Judge. Stanton is going to be Stanton. DJ is going to be DJ, going to get hits regardless. Gio Urshela, he's just going to be Gio and get hits regardless. Gary, we got to get Gary locked in. Glaber's got to be locked in too. But if this lineup is as good as it can get, they're all on. This is a very difficult team to beat. It's almost guaranteed that this team is not going to lose, especially if Garrett Cole's on the mound and you got pitchers, in the bullpen like Chad Green and Ottavino, and you used to have Tommy Kahnle. Unfortunately, we won't have him because of Tommy John surgery. Get well, Tommy, please. But this lineup is just ridiculous. It's absurd. There's only so much that can be said about this lineup. So the Yankees are basically going to go up against the Rays today, and they got Meadows, Lowe, Diaz, Choi, Wendell. I can never say his name right. I know it's Yoshi Tsutsuko, or I can't even. I am so sorry that I butchered that. But here, let me try and see if I can raise Yoshi Yoshitomo. I know the first name. I could say the first name. Yoshitomo Tsuko. I pretty much know I'm butchering that very, very badly, but that guy is going to be a huge problem going forward for the Yankees. That guy has a ton of potential. He's probably going to be the best bat in the Rays lineup for a significant time being. Definitely Meadows is a very significant bat, a scary guy that you don't want to, tempt too much. But outside of that, it's just like the Rays offense. That's the problem with the Rays. Their pitching is so good from top to bottom. Their starting rotation is scary. Their starting rotation is scary. Their bullpen is scary, but their offensive lineup is just a huge question mark. Like Kiermaier, elite defensively, but he just doesn't seem to do anything with the bat. It's just like a lot of these guys. Choi isn't what he used to be with the Yankees like he was. Pretty much the only two guys, I will give some credit to Lowe. Brandon Lowe has got some potential. I will definitely say that. But outside of Lowe, Meadows, and Yoshitomo, like I said, he's going to be a big threat moving forward, I think, just like Bo Bichette for the Rays is going to be a big threat for the Yankees moving forward, which we already saw last year. This Rays team offensively is a huge question mark. But the thing the Rays do have moving forward is they have one of the best starting rotations in the league, and then they have one of the best bullpens in the league. If you were to come out and say the Rays have the best pitching in general, I wouldn't argue with you one bit, especially the bullpen. The bullpen is probably the best in the league. The only one that I would say that's close to it is I would say might be a little biased, but the Yankees, I think, compete with them. But overall, if you pretty much sat me down and told me which one is better, I would definitely say the Rays bullpen is better. They just have top to bottom a ridiculous lineup. But it's that offense that's a big question mark. So pretty much what it's going to determine this whole series, just like it was last year, it's going to determine if the Rays can score runs, because we know the Yankees, doesn't matter who they face. They might, it might be a struggle for the first time through the lineup, maybe the second time, but you get through the third lineup and, it really just depends. Like it depends if the Rays score runs, because the pitching on both sides, as far as the bullpen is concerned, is just a basically tooth and nail battle to the death. Like these teams with their bullpen is bloodshed, like very, very top to bottom, excellent bullpen. But it's all going to be on when the Yankees get to these pitchers, such as Charlie Morton or Tyler Glasnow or Chris Snell. And it's all going to depend on, because honestly, as good as the Rays are in the bullpen, the Yankees seem to get to them like no other for some reason. And I know there were some games last year that the Yankees just seemed to get to them, like get in their head, especially Chris Snell. Charlie Morton is probably the biggest threat, and I'm not sure. I think Jay Happ is pitching for that game. I'm not too sure. Actually, let me look this up real quick. I'm not entirely sure who's pitching the Charlie Morton game. I actually have to search up MLB scores and then go to ESPN, because that's pretty much the best place for me to find out who is pitching that given day. I know tonight, obviously, is Masahiro Tanaka and Chris Snell, which hopefully Tanaka has a strong start and bounce back from the last start. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. We have Tyler Glasnow versus Garrett Cole. That is going to be a hell of a matchup. And we also have a doubleheader on Saturday. So after that game at 1:10 p.m. Central Time, we have the next game, which nobody knows who's going to pitch that game, but we do know on the 9th that James Paxton, okay, so it's going to be James Paxton versus Charlie Morton. So James Paxton's got to get that velo up. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You got to pitch your A game when you're playing against Charlie, because I know Charlie had a rough start his first game of the season, but his second game, he's basically unhittable. And if we're going to go against a guy like Charlie Morton, I'm not worried about Garrett Cole. Tyler Glasnow is incredible. You got to be on your A game versus him. You got to be on your A game versus Chris Snell. But out of all the games that I'm probably the most worried about is probably that fourth game, because I don't know what I'm going to get out of Paxton. I love Paxton to death, but even I can admit the guy has pitched very poorly his last two starts, and he's got to get that velocity up. Point blank and simple. He's just got to get that velocity up. And that's what you got to do. If Paxton doesn't pitch well, the Rays are winning that game, like point blank. Charlie Morton, for the majority of the time, very slim that he's going to go out and give up as many runs as he did at the beginning of the year. It's very slim. It could happen. I could be wrong. But if Paxton is not on and Charlie Morton is on, that's basically a punt game. I'm just going to say that right now. So it all depends if, Paxton is on his A game. And then, Garrett Cole, Glasnow, that's going to be a bloodshed. Definitely can see, Cole coming out on the other side for obvious reasons, because I think Garrett Cole outside of DeGrom is the best pitcher in baseball. I think Cole's obviously the best pitcher in the AL, and then DeGrom's the best pitcher in the NL. And then, like I said, the second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, we don't know who's pitching. That might be a bullpen game, quite possibly. I'm not entirely sure as of yet. I don't think Happ would pitch. Montgomery's not pitching because he just pitched, so who knows about that one. Might be a bullpen versus bullpen game, which would be pretty interesting, because if that's the case, it could go either way, considering both the Yankees and the Rays have like the best bullpens in the league. And then, like, tonight we have Masahiro Tanaka versus Snell in roughly about 15 minutes. So let's hope for a good start from Tanaka. He didn't pitch horribly his first start back this season, but it could have been a lot better from Tanaka. But it does seem like when Tanaka pitches against the Rays, he pitches really well. I mean, last year he pitched a full game shutout, complete game shutout. I remember that because Michael Kay was like, that is a man's performance. He just completely went out there, shut the Rays offense down, point blank, made them look silly. So who knows? Maybe because, Masahiro is really good against the Rays. I don't usually believe in matchup stats most of the time. It just depends. They're really iffy to me because, certain guys can come out and just see the ball better than others sometimes. Unless you're, David Price versus Gary Sanchez, it's a little hard to not believe that Gary Sanchez just sees the ball better from, David Price. But, let's see. Yankees should have Luis Medina in their roster. They definitely could. I still think they should bring out Clark Schmidt. They should promote him up. I still don't know why Clark Schmidt hasn't got. Maybe he might be starting. Who knows? He might be starting on the game for Saturday, the second game of the doubleheader. I don't know. Would I be completely happy with that? Yes, I would, without a shadow of a doubt. But as of right now, I don't know who's pitching. I really don't. It could be a bullpen game. It could be Clark Schmidt. They might call him up. It's definitely not going to be Garcia or anything like that. If it's anybody, it's going to be not Garcia, but it's going to be Clark Schmidt for obvious reasons, because he's the best starting pitcher in our rotation that we have that is in AAA at the current moment, and he's got a lot of potential. I don't have to say that too much about it, but Clark is good. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Clark, but as of right now, said it a million times, not sure what's going to happen on Saturday. I'm probably assuming they're not going to release the lineup until tomorrow for both teams, is pretty much assuming so. Obviously, they won't release the offensive lineup till tomorrow, which I'm not really concerned about that. I'm more concerned about who's pitching tomorrow for the second game. But let's hope. Let's really hope it's Clark, because I really would like to see Clark go against the Rays and, kind of see what it's like, finally get him his first start of the season. And we'll pretty much go from there. There's nothing else can be said, But that's pretty much all I have to talk about today, guys. I do have a topic that I want to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be a very interesting topic. I have a guest from John Boy Media that will be on the podcast tomorrow. So I will save the topic for tomorrow. Actually, there might be two topics that are very, very controversial. But I do have a guest tomorrow from John Boy Media, and that should be really, really entertaining to see what takes he has, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and we'll save those takes for tomorrow. So I do hope you guys enjoy the game. Hope the Yankees come out on top, and then they improve their record to basically 10-3, because I forget that they lost 2 games against the Phillies. They didn't play the best baseball in the world against the Phillies last series, but at least you break that, you get the tie, you break the series. You don't lose the series 3-1, which would be the worst case scenario, especially against the Phillies, because I know the Yankees are more than capable of winning 3 games. 3 out of 4 against the Phillies, or 2 out of 3, or, sweeping the Phillies. The point is winning the majority of the games. But like I said, hope you guys do enjoy the game. Hopefully the Yankees win. That's best case scenario. And I will see you guys later.